Well, it actually been a long time since I've done an NFL video, but this year I'm not gonna do NFL videos like I did the last time, which I did division by division by division by division. It's gonna be based on a tier list, which I'm gonna talk all in one. And go. Now, without further ado, let's start with the NFC West, which I already put. They're a tanking team, no question. Kyler Murray's injured. No DeAndre Hopkins. James Conner's the only offense they have, so yeah, Arizona's going to be in the rough. The Niners. I could say they're a playoff team, but the thing with them is they almost made the Super Bowl with Mr. Irrelevant. So it's kind of hard to tell. I'll put them as a playoff team, but it's going to feel disrespectful because they almost made the Super Bowl. So I'm going to put them as a Super Bowl team based on their top five offense and their top five defense. And then let's go over the Rams. This is going to be a pretty interesting season because they have the talent to become a wild card team, but it's going to be based on Matt Stafford's health and the defense. They already lost Jalen Ramsey because he was having a mid-season last season. So they could be the middle of the pack. The question is now, can they compete? They have Cooper Kupp, and they do have some good running backs. This is going to be pretty tough, but they could be in the potential a wildcard team at best. If everything goes well, they're a wildcard team at best, just because of what happened last season. Now, the Seattle Seahawks. This is going to be a pretty interesting season because Geno Smith's coming off comeback player of the year, can't replicate that. They have JSN, and they drafted Devin Witherspoon. This could be a potential top five offense, top five defense if all goes to plan. The question is now, are they a playoff team? Well, they could be a playoff team, but getting 10 to 12 wins is going to be pretty rough. Especially when the only two teams that are competing in that division are the Niners and Seahawks, which I'm talking about. The Rams, we don't know about that yet. So they're going to be the same tier as the Rams. They're going to make the playoffs at best. We don't know, but the question is, they're not really Niners tier yet. And then the next one's going to be the NFC East. Starting off with the Dallas Cowboys. This is pretty much a no-brainer. They're a Super Bowl team based on one thing. Their defense is elite. Trayvon Diggs, Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, like they already have a top five team. The problem with them is their only Achilles heel is the Niners, which they've not had success for the past few years in the playoffs. They could get 13 plus wins, which is okay, which is fine. They just have to get past the second round. So they're a Super Bowl team at best. The big question is going to be if they play the Niners, can they slay the Dragon? Now we got the NFC champs, the Eagles. They are a very Super Bowl team, right? They lost a lot of talent, but they revitalized that talent with new players. They lost Javon Hargrave. They have Jordan Davis. They still have Fletcher Cox and Brendan Graham. They have Hassan Reddick, who was freshly paid last season. The only question is going to be, can they replicate that? They're in the same tier as the Eagles, as the Cowboys, but the question is, they can't be a playoff team. They have to replicate it. So they're going to be the same tier as the Cowboys. And next we have is the Giants. They had a pretty shocking season. They made the playoffs. They did it with no offense. The only thing they had was Saquon Barkley, which we don't even know he's going to play or not. Daniel Jones just signed a 4-year, $160 million deal, but to be honest, that deal could be overdue or something. They are a playoff team, but I can really flip my head. They are going to compete for a division, but are they good or not? I have no clue. So I'm going to put them at the bottom. But the thing is, they can compete for a wild card. It's just that difficult. So I'll put them in the same tier as the Seahawks. Because just because they have Saquon Barkley as a defense doesn't mean they'll complete the playoffs. But I'll put Chicken around as I'm doing this vid. And then finally, the Commanders. I don't know what type of team they're going to be because they have a good defense. We still don't know about Chase Young because he's going to get traded or not. But the big question is going to be is this. How is Sam Howell going to treat this offense? They could be tanky, they could be competing, but I don't know if they're gonna be tanking. Maybe they go for another QB. I'm not sure, but I'll tell you one thing: they're not worse than the Cardinals. Like they don't, their front office, they got rid of Dan Snyder, so that's for sure. So now the Cardinals worse. So now we got the NFC East done. Now we got to do the NFC South, which is going to be the weakest division of all time. The only thing about this NFC South division is that the Buccaneers, the Panthers, the Falcons, and the Saints all look like they're going to be in one category. But one team's going to make the playoffs. And this is a pretty tough one to choose because the Panthers have Bryce Young. The Panthers have Desmond Ritter. The Saints have Taysom Hill, Jameis Winston, those QBs. And then you have the Buccaneers. But this is going to be a very tough one. The Buccaneers, I don't know what kind of team they're going to be. They could make the playoffs, but it's kind of a toss-up. For Bryce Young, I want to put them as 5-7 wins because it kind of doesn't make sense. The Falcons for sure. The Bucks, however, that could make the playoffs with Baker Mayfield, but it's gonna be the weakest division. So someone's gonna win the division with a losing record, maybe. The Panthers could compete. The Saints, I don't know what type of season they're gonna have because they have Marshall Lattimore, their best corner. They have still Cam Jordan, I think. I'm being correct. And then they have Michael Thomas, who's good running back. So far, I think the Saints and the Bucks compete. But we don't know about the Bucks. It's going to be very tight, but I think the Saints could be in the middle of the pack. We could have these teams compete. The Bucks, the only reason I put up the front is because they have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, they have a rich core and a defense. Yeah, this is going to be a big challenge. Now, let's see here. The AFC now. We'll come back to the NFC in a few moments. The AFC, let's go with the AFC East. The Bills, they're a Super Bowl team, but I can't say a Super Bowl team when they have not made a Super Bowl. They've either high expectations or low expectations. The only way they're going to be a Super Bowl team is if this defense can step up. Their offense is like one-dimensional, so that's going to be the biggest question of the day. So I want to say the Bills are a playoff team for now. They can make the Super Bowl, but again, they're pretty consistent most of the time. Compared to last season, they won, they lost, they won, they lost. Just, yeah. The Patriots, this could be a hard to engage. They have a good, cute quarterback in Christian Gonzalez. They have Jack Jones, but they can compete for a wildcard spot. No offense. It's just they have offense, defense. It's just a middle pack offense and a top 5 defense. The only way they're going to get 12-10 wins is if Mac Jones plays to what he was as a rookie. Let's go. Okay, the Jets. They have Aaron Rodgers, so it's no question that the NFC East is going to be not the toughest division, but the AFC East is going to be the toughest division. So, the Jets. This one's going to be very tight. They're going to be competing with the Patriots. They're going to try to end that streak, but it's not going to be easy. But with Aaron Rodgers, it's going to be rude to say they're a 9-win team. They could get 10 wins, but we'll have to see what Aaron Rodgers does with Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, each winning Rookie of the Year honors in different categories. It's just that close. And finally, the Dolphins. They're a 10-win team when Tua is healthy. They're going to be competing, so it's going to be rude to say they're a 5-win team. They're going to compete for a division. They can compete with the Bills, the Patriots, Jets. This is going to be the hardest division, the AFC East. Now let's go to the AFC South, which is also going to be the weakest division along with the NFC South. Because the Jaguars are the only team that's relevant enough to win 10 games. That's the only truth. Because the Jaguars have Trevor Lawrence, they have Zay Jones, Evan Ingram, who's on the franchise tag, and they have the top elite defense. Like, You can't say they're going to be a 9-win team. I think they take that next step. Now, the Colts. I don't know what the type of team's going to be. They can't turn They do not have, Matt Ryan. So, at worst, they're going to be a 5-win team. The Texans, I'm really interested to see what DeMeco Ryan does. He's coming back home. He knows this team really well. They have Derek Singletary, Damian Pierce as well. They have their QB. It's just I don't know what to gauge them. They don't have a bad front office, so I want to put them as a middle of the pack team just because they're not in the deepest worse than what the Cardinals were dealing with. And lastly, the Titans. They drafted Will Levis, so when Matt Ryan is gone, well, not Ryan Tannehill, then yeah, we're gonna be seeing Will Levis. They have Derrick Henry, so that words they're a wildcard team because they either get 9-7 or 9-8, like they get those type of numbers. All right, let's go into the AFC North, the Bengals division. There's no secret the Bengals are going to compete for a playoffs. Super Bowl, they were there. They're close. They're that close. The Chiefs, we'll get into that momentarily. The Steelers, they're a 9-win team. They have a winning record, whether like it or not. The Browns, no secret that they're a good team, but the QB with not Case Keenum, but Taylor Heinicke, we still don't know about that. They have Nick Chubb, they have Myles Garrett. It's hard to gauge. They'll build a pack team for now, but a lot of things can change. So they're ready to compete, but is Deshaun Watson ready to bring them to victory? Next, and the Ravens. Lamar Jackson got the bag. They have a top 5 defense with Roquan Smith and Marlon Humphrey, but they need to figure out about this offense because they do not need Roman. They have a new offensive coordinator. This better work. Because they have Lamar Jackson, they're a playoff team. I'm sorry, but they're just a playoff team. I know about the Patriots and Ravens rivalry. The Patriots beat the Ravens, but still, I want to see the Patriots go take that next step. I want to see them how they did with Mark Jones to see if they're good. So now that that's taken over, let's go to the AFC South, which is always owned by the Chiefs, which they're always going to be a Super Bowl contender. The Chargers, if they can stop choking and compete like they did a long time ago, they could maybe pass the Chiefs. The biggest question is going to be, can Brandon Staley manage a game properly? They're a 10-win team. They're going to compete for the playoffs. The big question is, can they not choke or lose in heartbreaking fashion? The Denver Broncos, with Russell Wilson, they're going to compete for the playoffs and with Sean Payton. So I'm encouraged to see them take that next step just because they're not in this category. They're going to be mostly in this category. So there's a lot of 8-9-win teams you can see. And lastly, the Raiders. They don't have Derek Carr. They have Jimmy Garoppolo, which I don't know what's going to happen. They sell Davante Adams, and they don't know about Josh Jacobs. So I don't know if they're going to be tanking, because you can't tank with Davante Adams. They're not in the deepest of things, although Josh McDaniels the head coach, so good luck with that. I can't say they're worse than the Cardinals. They'll be a middle of the pack team because of their offense with Adams and Jacobs, but I'm not so sure. Their defense could be good if Willie Johnson in the first round can help with Max Crosby. And finally, the NFC North. It's always going to be owned by the Packers, but the Packers have Jordan Love, so this could be the first time since I think 2009 and 10 at best that they don't have expectations of making the Super Bowl. They're going to be a middle of the pack team because they do have that running back tandem and a good defensive quarterback duo with Rasul Douglas and Jared Alexander. The big question is going to be, how well will they do this season? And then you got the Lions. They have a number one offense. They almost made the playoffs, but unfortunately, Seattle won against the Rams. So sorry, Detroit. But I'm curious to see what they do. The Vikings, they're going to be a very good team, but the biggest problem is going to be they win close games and they get blown out in losses. That's what happened last season. They have Justin Jefferson. They have Alexander Madison's going to take over with Dalvin Cook. They cleared all the veterans. No Thielen, Kendricks is gone, Patrick Peterson's gone. So it's going to be pretty surreal that we're going to be seeing a new team at best. So guess what? Vikings, you're going to be on this, and the Lions, they're going to be in this tier, but they could be in this tier as well. So they're in this tier and this tier. So they're mostly in the middle. Just because of their offense and what they did and what Dan Campbell's done. Now the Bears, pretty much they're here. I want to see what Justin Fields can do. If they can fix that defense, that would be amazing. So here you go. This is your tier list for this season. Comment down below if you want to see any changes or you don't agree with this list. Until that happens, have a nice day and take care.